Welcome to the podcast of MotorWeek, television's original automotive magazine. MotorWeek is made possible by TireRack.com and by RockAuto.com. Here's your MotorWeek podcast host, John Davis.
Thank you, Alec Webb, and welcome everyone to MotorWeek podcast number 150. It's
150
big ones. I must say, I don't know if we thought this would continue as long as it has. We're delighted to be with you again and around our MotorWeek Central headquarter table in Studio C today is writer-producer Brian Robinson.
Feels like it's been at least 200. Glad to be here.
It looks like it's been 200. Now, road test producer Ben Davis.
Hi there, and sponsors, please. 150. Let's get on board here.
That's it. 150, and they're going strong. Assistant producer Greg Carlos.
That is me.
And our online content coordinator, Patrick Lucas.
Hello, John.
And Patrick's also the producer for the podcast.
Yes.
We have lightning round. We have a viewer question, rant and rave, see if anybody's got something that's really gnawing at them. But let's look at vehicles, both here now and coming soon. Let's start off with the Paris Motor Show. Paris Motor Show is the biannual show that basically starts off the automotive auto show season. They did it this year. It was a good show, although there were a couple of no-shows, including Ford, which I thought was pretty amazing. Anything strike you about the coverage of the show that you think you want to share?
I think Patrick or somebody else is more fit for that one.
No, don't look at me.
I wasn't there.
I don't follow the show.
There was a lot of
electric
cars. Yeah,
Oh,
Volkswagen
boy.
had a whole laid out their future of what they have for electric cars, and Mercedes-Benz as well. So while the German makers have kind of been laying back on the EVs, they seem to be going full steam ahead now.
I thought there was less that would impact us here in the States immediately than any show I can recall. But you're absolutely right, Brian. I mean, Volkswagen, in the midst of all of its diesel problems, is basically saying we're going to walk away from diesels and we're going to embrace EVs.
Good for them. They do a great job on EVs, I think.
Yeah, the e-Golf was pretty solid.
It's probably one of the best EVs we've ever had.
I was going to say, I thought that all those EVs was surprising at first, but then that's kind of the direction that everyone's moving, and the auto show is a place to show wacky concepts, so why not wacky EV concepts?
Let me throw this out, because most of the plug-in hybrids that have been shown in Europe and some of the ones here, like the Prius Prime, they're coming in with a hybrid powertrain and a small battery that will handle about 14 to 20 miles of electric driving. This is in contrast to, say, something like the Volt, which has got closer to 50. Do you think that these hybrids with limited EV range are going to catch on here? How do you think the American market and appetite for mainstream EVs is shaping up? After all, we've got the Bolt coming on the market with 200-mile range. Any comments?
I think the limited EV is fine. Every little bit helps. Having spoken with some German engineers on a Porsche, he was kind of explaining it the way they look at it. Things are a little different in Europe, whereas here in the U.S., you might leave your house from your neighborhood and just be in stop-and-go traffic the whole way to work. Typically in Europe and Germany, you're in your village or whatever, you leave your village, get on the Autobahn, streak on the Autobahn, then get off the Autobahn and drive a little bit from there to your workplace. So they look at it as using EV power from the house to the Autobahn, strictly gas on the Autobahn when you're running fairly efficiently, and then once you're off the Autobahn, boom, you're back on EV power, keeping things cleaner in the cities and stuff like that. That's kind of how they look at it with the limited range.
Well, also, I mean, one of the reasons they're doing that is because cities like Paris and some others are basically saying that they may ban gasoline-powered vehicles.
I think they have already in some places, yeah.
Well, it's diesels too, yeah. During certain hours of the day and stuff like that.
And on that, we're getting way off topic here, but we had the 3 Series plug-in, and if you had a destination programmed into the nav, it would determine based on your route when to use the battery power.
When to use the battery power, when to use the gas.
Yeah.
there were some other interesting concepts, especially for Mercedes and BMW, looking far out into the future. But by and large, I thought Paris was pretty much an EV show as far as headlines.
There was some high performance stuff. There's some concepts. Like Hyundai had I think it was Hyundai.
Was it their end? What's their
the end something?
The end, whatever their end division will be of their like sports racing division.
Audi had some pretty sweet looking
The
stuff.
Q5 didn't that come out? No. Yes.
I think the
Yes. The new revised Q5 was out,
Which will be
and that
available
will
in
have an
Europe
impact
soon,
here.
but-
That will be a popular, probably very popular vehicle. Speaking of something that in that realm and a competitor for that, the Jaguar F-PACE, Jag's first SUV, seems to have made a very big impact on us around MotorWeek. Brian, why don't you start it off?
It seems like we talked about this already before. But
Well, let's talk about it again.
Now we've
Shit.
had
No, I
it
love
in
talking
for
about it.
testing.
We had talked about it earlier when it first came out, but
I thought it was
Patrick
extremely
saw it.
impressive, both driving it, Porsche-like and handling. Interior materials were really nice, lots of room, and I couldn't believe the price. I mean, we had
it's a bargain.
Yeah, we had the S, almost fully loaded, and I don't know, was it 50 something?
Yeah, it was a value.
And I was expecting it to be 60, 70. So I thought it's great. It looks good. I've seen a lot of them on the road already.
I think they're following Volvo's, trying to get introduce something different to their buyers and saying, okay, it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg yet.
That's the real competition in my eyes, actually, is the XC90, whereas you got a little more luxury with the XC90, a little more comfort, where the Jag is it's sporty. There's no doubt about it.
Terrific.
It's got a nice growl to it, and it carves hard when you want it to. So that's really the toss-up. How sporty do you want to be? How comfortable do you want to be? But for the money, they're both awesome.
Yeah, have you driven the diesel, Greg? Did you one of the?
I did drive the diesel.
Because that's actually the base engine.
Right,
Is the diesel.
which is pretty shocking in America. And that was, I think they announced that before the whole Volkswagen scandal. So it would have been interesting to see had it happened before then, if it would have made a difference. But no, the diesel's fine. I don't think it's going to be as popular in America. I mean, I know it's the base car, but I think people will just want to get that V6, the supercharged V6. Should you? I don't think you have to. It's torquey, really efficient. I didn't have any problems with it. You still get, it was a little bit loud that I remember outside of the car. Inside's not so bad just because everybody's so good at sound deadening now. But yeah, if you're worried about hopping into a diesel, you shouldn't be, because it's very nice.
Now, we pointed out in our road test that this is not a rebadged Land Rover or Range Rover. This is a different platform. It's basically their XE car platform. However, having said that, we weren't that enamored with the interior of the XE, and this is somewhat similar. Take different. Did we feel differently about the F-PACE?
I would say the layout is exactly the same, but the materials are a huge step up over the XE.
Couldn't be any less of the XE, it gives a lot of room for improvement to compare anything with
this
an XE.
car was terrific.
Yeah,
I thought.
XE I reminded me of a cab from like 20 years ago.
But back to the diesel.
Yep,
I was recently at the Jag dealer, which is also a Land Rover dealer, and you can get the diesel, in the Range Rover now. And he said he's selling every diesel that he can get.
Really? Just in the Range Rover or in the F-PACE?
That was just strictly the Range Rover, but he expected the same thing to happen with the F-PACE.
That's pretty shocking.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Well, those buyers, they know a lot of torque for the money, and now that we're starting to see other manufacturers besides Mercedes actually make diesels their entry level engine, wow, that's a big turn there.
And they also offer, I think now, the best luxury warranty, right? So if you're worried about the whole Jaguar reliability thing, they actually do. They offer right now the best limited warranty.
So MotorWeek is high on the F-PACE.
Beautiful
Man.
Another one that I think we're pretty high on
You're the
is
young
the
guy, Patrick. What do you
Chevrolet
got?
Corvette Grand Sport.
No.
Who wants to give us a little Grand Sport history lesson?
Give us the grand tour of the Grand Sport, if
Greg's
you will.
got a lot of details on it as far as what's in it.
Oh, I do.
I'll follow up with a.
The Grand Sport name is really historic for Corvette owners. But this is not the stripped down, ready to go racing Grand Sport of old. Really, it's basically everything but the motor from
tweener. Yeah, it's exactly a tweener. It's you look at a Z51 and you think, I want a little bit more than that. But you look at a Z06 and say, well, I want a little bit less than that.
I don't want to pay the price
and
tag.
that's exactly where the Grand Sport is, and I think that's a perfect location. The pricing's right. It's well worth the money. The one we had did have the Z07 package, so you get all of the aero, you get the carbon ceramic brakes, which is a little bit weird if you're not going to be tracking the car. But yeah, I mean, I drove it a little bit on the track. Brian could probably give you some better points on that, but I was really impressed with how it handled itself. A ton of grip. The brakes are great. Wasn't crazy about the paint scheme or the white. Or
I guess we'd all like to have seen the blue and white.
Yeah, I think so.
Historic
but
colors.
It still looks good. It's as wide as a Z06. It has all the same features, just not the supercharger, not the power.
It's still got a lot of motor.
Yeah, I'm surprised it didn't have the purple and red. The C4 Grand Sport was kind of purple and red. Aesthetically, on a daily driver aspect, this is the first C7 Corvette that I felt comfortable in, and I'm not sure if it's because the seat bottom material was thinner, or I doubt that the seats set any lower in the vehicle, but it was the first one where I felt like my field of vision was where it should be. In others prior,
not too high.
I felt like I was way too high and couldn't get comfortable, but this one fit me like a glove for some reason.
Hey, can we talk about seats in the new generation Corvette just a moment? Something really weird seems to have happened. When the Z7 came out, C7 came out, we pretty much applauded the seat comfort as a huge improvement over the C6. Now I'm starting to hear a lot of complaints about the seats. Is it just that they were better, but they still aren't great? Any comments?
Well, there's so many different seats available. There's like the base, and then there's like 2 or 3 upgrades. So I'm not sure which we're comparing here. But
we've been giving the impression that the seats are not very good.
What are the complaints you're hearing?
About?
Are you hearing like durability complaints?
It seems to be just comfort.
I've never had any real problem.
I haven't either. So
maybe the base seat. If anything, the seat bottom is a little too shallow, like Chevy's kind of notorious for sometimes. But these last couple vets we've had, the Callaway vet and this one have had the competition seat in it, which is a really nice seat.
Very nice.
Yeah. But I never had a problem with the C6 seats. I thought I might have thought they were a little more comfortable than C7 seats, honestly. A little more cush, a little more daily use. Less competition, less performance.
Another point was, I think this was our first automatic C7 that we've driven, right?
The 8-speed,
the 8-speed automatic, which was crazy quick. It was nice.
Had no complaints about that at all.
Yeah,
maybe that's why I was more comfortable. Because I wasn't working a clutch.
It could be. Yeah.
Wasn't working as hard. All right, Chevrolet Corvette Grand Sport seems to be pretty universal that we thought it was very impressive. Let's move on to our lightning round. Our panelists have 2 minutes to debate a trending automotive topic. When time's up, they're going to hear Patrick ring the bell.
Ring.
Ding, ding. With the release of another Chevy, with the release of the Chevy Cruze hatch, there seems to be more hatchbacks for sale in the U.S. these days. Between the rise and the continued success of small crossovers, is the U.S. finally turning its attention to what the European markets have been offering for not just years but decades? Have we finally adopted the hatchback mania of Europe, but on our own terms? Any thoughts of that?
Is there really that many more available now?
Well, I guess the reason for this topic is that, we like to do things our way. So what did we do? We took the hatchback, which never caught on here from Europe. We squared it off. We raised it up. We threw an automatic all-wheel drive system on it. And now you can't get enough of them. It's really the same concept, basically.
Well,
yes,
back to the Chevy and their advertising campaign. If you've seen the one with the Cruze hatchback, they hide. They just show the front end.
They don't even show it's a hatchback.
But then they reveal it, and everyone's excited. Oh, it's a hatchback! It's great.
I've never seen one of those.
Business in the front party.
Wow!
Yeah. And it's like they're so excited about it.
Remember the 626 Touring?
But they also make a point of saying multiple times that has SUV like room in it. And that's the whole deal. Convincing people that hey, we've been selling you hatchbacks all along. We've just called them SUVs. Now you can just buy just a front-wheel drive one, and we'll call it a hatchback.
That's pretty much it.
I mean, Honda basically is going to be doing the same thing with the Civic, too.
Yep.
So I'm not sure we need 2 minutes to talk about this thing, but I think that the answer is yes. Hatchbacks have found a home in America, be they square or slanted, and whether they be front or all-wheel drive. And frankly, it's probably about time.
Bring back the Aztec.
Oh my God!
We just weren't ready for it. When the
Well,
Aztec came out.
that's right.
That's
right.
Bring out the Walter White edition from Breaking Bad. That'd be cool.
Great reference.
All right, viewer question. Alethea, I think, hopefully I got that right. Asks, I just noticed the incorrect transmission fluid was used in my car. We're all wondering, how did she
The
notice
incorrect
that?
transmission fluid light came on.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've traveled about 600 miles in 2 weeks. I'm panicking. Is this something to cause great concern? What should I do?
Not sure who put the wrong fluid in, but obviously you need to take it back to them and let them take care of it.
Now, here's the thing. Used to be 1 or 2 transmission fluids out there, pretty much fit everything. Now, they're very different. They need to do more than just drain it. They need to do a thorough cleaning of the transmission to get all of it out, and then refill it with what the manufacturer recommends. And if you don't know what that is, open up the owner's manual and look. But I wouldn't panic. But I wouldn't have the car towed, but I certainly wouldn't leave it in for much longer either.
I know I know a lot of mom and pop shops, the machines they use can't get all the fluid out too. A lot of the BG machines can, but
you need a thorough flush.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe you have to take it to a dealer or somebody with the proper equipment, because I know a lot of shops they can't get that last quart out.
Yeah, if you just drop the pan, you're only getting about half to 2/3. So I hope that puts your mind at rest to the point, but don't dilly with this. Don't say I'm going to get it done in a couple of months. Go get it done now. Take it back to the tech who put the wrong stuff in it, and give them a what's for, and get them to make things right.
What's for?
The what for?
What for?
Yes.
Rant and raves, anyone? Anything sticking in your craw this week about anything automotive? My goodness, are we all at peace with the world?
Nah, it's just seasonal affective disorder. We're all depressed.
You're depressed?
Yeah.
Because the leaves are falling?
Yeah.
We should have stuff to rant about then.
I mean, I have a rant. It's kind of out there, but it'll fill the bill. Buying used cars on Craigslist and just dealing with general public when it comes to buying a used car. And
Just people.
You mean
People
because
say-
everybody
I
thinks
think
their
your
car is
argument's with
worth a lot
people.
more money than it is?
Well,
Deplorables, you mean?
not necessarily that. When people say good condition and clean, and then you travel all the way to get to it, and the thing's a wreck. It's just filthy, and the condition is not good. Just overall, hey, just tell. I'm talking
Honesty.
to you on the phone. Yeah, save me a trip. I'm going to find out anyway. And who knows? Maybe I'm going to be a guy that gets super mad and puts you through the window of your car for lying to me and wasting all my time.
Which, for reference, he is that person.
After working with him for several years.
Do they not know? I don't know. And here's where the rant starts to come.
Or
Yeah,
if that's what they think is good condition,
exactly.
that's even
There's
worse.
too much. Yeah, too much room for interpretation.
So what are you proposing?
I
mean, there
propose-
is no real.
People that don't
Honesty.
Well,
people that don't want
what
to go to a
about
dealership and buy a used car.
But what about pictures? Do they, when you've done this,
Right.
have they had no pictures? Only a couple?
I
or
guess
what?
that should be a warning sign. Limited pictures,
Yeah.
maybe 2, 3, 4. So yeah, nothing less than 12 pictures. Make
Cause-
sure they're all on there real good. Make sure the car has tags on it. That's a huge thing on Craigslist. Most of the cars try to block the tag out of the shot, or they show the car blatantly not having tags on it. All that is some guy that just went and bought it at a public auction a couple weeks ago.
a curb stoner.
Let's try to spin it off on you. Exactly.
Yeah, I think
rough.
checking the title is very important. Find out if the person that's selling it was the last name on the title.
That's hard to do. You'd have to demand the guy show you photo ID, really.
Yeah.
And make sure. I've had this bite me a couple times. Make sure the VIN number on the title matches the VIN number on the car. Because even if it does, even if it's, it most likely will be the title that matches up with the car. But if the MVA wrote the title just by missing one number wrong, it's going to cause you a lot of trouble trying to straighten it out.
yeah.
It's not going to be worth it.
In general, I'm not sure. Buying a car, let's face it, over the internet is tough. I've sold a couple. I sold my old Volvo. I bet I put 25 photographs up. And something very important, I had the car inspected in Maryland, even though I knew it was going to be sold elsewhere. But that turned out to be a huge bonus in selling it, because people felt like, well, if you passed your inspection, it must be at least acceptable.
Yeah, I'm going to look at one on Saturday. That was like one of the bigger things for me. Actually, he doesn't have 12 pictures, but he has like a between 4 and 12. But he at least found the right spots of the car. I mean, called him up. That's the big thing too. Is you just got to make sure you talk to the guy. You got to like pass the ear test. See, does he seem legit? Can he answer your questions right away?
Will he answer your questions?
Yeah, but he has that Maryland inspection, which he says was within 30 days, and that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, in Maryland we only have to get our cars inspected for things like body panel rust and safety when you buy and sell them, but it's a pretty strict inspection compared to some states. So generally speaking, if you pass that, the car is probably at least serviceable.
For sure. They drill you heavy on front end wear parts and all that.
They
kind of
certainly
stuff.
are. Okay, that was a good one. I'm glad you brought it up, Ben. And that brings to a close our MotorWeek podcast number 150. I want to thank everyone around the table today. Writer-producer Brian Robinson, our road test Ben Robinson, Ben Davis or Brian Davis, whatever your name is. Assistant producer Greg Carlos, Patrick the Lucas, our online content coordinator and producer, and audio engineer, the man that always makes sure that we sound much saner than we really are, Jim Bigwood, and our podcast creator, Bob Mixter. Thanks to you all out there who watch and listen to MotorWeek and follow us on all the social media. We love you all, and believe me, we need to hear from you on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, and what we can do to make MotorWeek just better for you.
What are we doing wrong?
And what are we doing wrong?
Don't answer that.
Yeah, no, we need to know. Until next time, I'm John Davis for all of us at MotorWeek. Thanks for being a part of MotorWeek.
You have been listening to the podcast of MotorWeek, television's original automotive magazine. MotorWeek is made possible by TireRack.com and by RockAuto.com. For additional information on podcasts, videos, and showtimes, visit our website at motorweek.org. And watch MotorWeek, television's longest-running automotive magazine series, each week on your local PBS station.